Thank you so much, Nicole, for joining me today. I know we've worked together and I've been on your marketing team for what, like 2.5 years maybe now?
Yeah,
So
yeah, that's right.
technically, yeah, so technically I kind of know your journey and your story a little bit, but I wanted to hop on here and have you retell it and dive in a little bit deeper. Because like my goal with these spotlight interviews is to like share the ups, the downs, the good times, the tough times, what lessons you've learned, kind of what tips and tools that have helped you build your thriving photography business and join the top 1% of photographers in our industry, creating a six-figure income from their passion.
I
So
love it.
super excited. I know your story is going to inspire and motivate other photographers to know that they too can build a thriving photography business. Because I feel like sometimes when you're in the grind and you're just starting out or you're trying to figure it out, it seems so daunting. And it really helps to have like inspiration and motivation from photographers who've already done that journey and can, throw out some tidbits to help keep us motivated and going forward. So
Like you said, 2.5 years. And the funny thing is, I was thinking about this earlier today. I think I had joined your like photography group, like for the free people, just like free group. I think like a week before I was like, I'm in. Like, so years ago, I joined this group that Facebook recommended, and there was something about you that I was just kind of like, yeah, I vibe with her. Like, you didn't even know me. Like, I'm watching from the sidelines, and I'm like, okay, like, and at the time, I was just like, I had been in business for a few years. I started doing boudoir in 2014, and that was 2018. So I had been doing it for 4 years, and I had yet to like turn a profit. And I was just like, I know I'm pretty good. Like, everyone loves my work, but like, I'm missing pieces of the puzzle. And then something about your group, I was just like, you know what? I'm all in. Like, here are my chips. Here are my cards. I'm giving to this person that I feel like knows what she's doing. So, yeah. And I don't know if you remember, you were like, oh, I didn't know the link was open. Like,
yeah,
okay.
I don't remember that.
Like, I know now, like, you do a call, and like, I was just like, oh, there might be one more left. I'm stealing the spot. But yeah, I just finagled my way into your life. So yeah, I was all in. And then I love that you guys offer like, we will build your website and we will do all the marketing and we'll do all the things for you. Because at the time I was working full time. I had been through a divorce a few years prior. Just life in general had taken over. Like, there was not time for me to learn all the things. Like, I needed those things to be able to scale, but like, I didn't have time to learn those. So I loved that it was just a whole package. Like, you do all the things. And I remember even joking, like, here, just take my money. Like, just do it for me. Let's get the show on the road. And yeah, that was 2.5 years ago. And I quit my job. I think it was less than a year after starting with you guys. I left my full-time job. I had been there for 12 years. Like, I was very comfortable with them. Like, I was making decent money. It was a full-time job, but it wasn't obviously what I loved doing. And then, yeah, I was able to quit within a year. And then, yeah, hit, I broke that six-figure mark last year. I'm obviously going to break it this year. Yeah. So, like, you guys were the missing puzzle and all the things.
Oh, thank
I
you.
tell people all the time, I'm like, this is my secret weapon. Like, it's these people, like, you know, it is those things that no one, like, I don't really have time to learn. And I love that I don't have to. Like, I can kind of turn it over, and it
Yeah.
makes all the difference. Even now, like, I still don't want to learn. I love that you guys handle it all. And
I love that. Yeah. And like, I think what you pointed out too is really great is finding someone you vibe with. Cause I'm definitely not necessarily the right mentor for everyone. There's other people out there that are great too, but finding someone you vibe with. And you're probably kind of answering some of the questions I have for you, but we'll circle around. um, but you live in Salt Lake City. And obviously, yeah, I was gonna have you do the backstory. I was literally gonna say, so give me a little backstory, and you like were on it. You already know. So
okay.
one question I do have, no, I love it. Like you don't even need me to facilitate the interview. You just have it taken care of. Um, do you remember the first time you picked up a camera?
Like, the very first time,
Mm-hmm.
I was like in elementary, so I don't
Yeah.
like, I've always liked photography. It's always
Yeah.
been like a thing. Like, I remember, the old days with like the film, like
Mhm. Yep.
all the things. But the first time I really like got into photography, not just
Yeah.
like, oh, I like taking pictures.
Yeah.
Like I did photography classes in high school, which
Mm-hmm.
was really fun, but I, this is going to show my age, whatever. I graduated, whatever. I graduated in 2002, and I honestly didn't pick up like a real camera until like I want to make this a business till
Mm-hmm.
2012. So it was
Okay.
like 10 years after, and I was like, I loved this hobby that I had. Like I want to start doing it again, and that's when I started like pursuing it as like a hobby to make money, and then obviously
Yeah.
transition into a business. But
Yeah. So I graduated in 2001. So hey, we'll both show our age. Um, okay, cool. So you loved it. You got a real camera. You said 2012. Is that what you said?
yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah.
And so what transitioned from I like taking pictures, I have a consistent job to wanting to take that passion and actually turn it into a business? Do you remember that turning point?
I mean, I've always like ever since I started doing like photography, I wanted to make it like a full time. Like I
Okay.
love people, like I like, and at the time it was like families and whatever. But
Mhm.
like I like people, and like I think it's fun just to, at the time was like go out and like to the pretty mountains because like Utah's beautiful. So it was
Mhm.
like, oh, we gotta go by the lake. We gotta do all these like pretty things, and I just liked it. I liked getting out of the house. Like I liked doing the things. Um, and the funny thing is like boudoir, obviously like I shoot indoors, and like it's kind of the opposite of that, but like I wouldn't have it any other way now. Like
Yeah.
now when someone wants to do an outdoor shoot, I'm like, I want to be inside where I can control all the things.
Yeah.
But transitioning, so I was working at a job, like I said, I'd been there for a long time. They were good to me, but
Mhm.
kind of lame. Like they hired someone who was younger than me and then promoted him over me, and I was just like, I'm done. And the funny thing is, that was like probably the month I hired you. Like, I was like, okay, I need to leave here. Like, I need to like all in. Like, here's all my cards. Here's all the chips. Like, because I was just like, yeah, like I've been here 7 years, and like, no, like
Mhm.
I'm ready to move on. Like a new chapter, and yeah, it was the best thing ever.
I love that.
Mhm.
What would you say was the moment where you're like, okay, I want to do photography full time to the moment that you basically made it happen? Like what was
Oh,
that time period? Because I feel like this is something that like, and I've talked about this on a few other calls, is just like I feel like this is that something that people don't talk about is the transition time, and where you, yes, I want this, to okay, I'm getting it.
um, it was a while. Like it was a journey. Like, and I know some people are faster, some are slower, whatever. It was
Yeah.
definitely a journey. Um, I think it was probably, or I think of the years because that makes it easier for me to think about in
Hmm.
my
Yeah.
analytical brain. But I think it was like 2014, 2015. Like I had some big changes in my life going on then, and it was kind of like it would be nice not to be sitting at a desk. It'd be nice to be able to do this. And then so yeah, probably 3 years because I quit that full-time job in 2019.
Mhm.
So it was a few years, but again, like all the pieces came together. Like I actually was making a profit and like
Yeah.
felt good about quitting that job because I was very slow. Like I was very scared. I was very comfortable in that setting. Um, and it's hard, like, because at the time, I, I mean, even still, like, I'm only on my income. So, like, I don't have
Mhm.
someone else to fall back on. So, like,
Right.
I was comfortable. Yeah. Like, I'm very self sufficient. So I was, I think I could have quit earlier, but,
Yeah.
I
Well,
was
always
careful.
taking that leap is always scary,
Yeah.
for
But
sure.
I think, whether you're doing it on your own or whether you like have someone to help you, I think making that leap and making sure like that you're comfortable with it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
have some money in savings, have a backup a backup plan. But
Hmm.
I didn't. I feel like I was just like, I refuse to fail. Like I'm so stubborn. Like I will do every single thing I'm told to do. Like I'm just gonna make it happen. Let's just jump all in. So
I love it. So 3 years, and then, um, I mean, you're working a full-time job plus your side hustle,
mhm.
right? Like
Yeah.
that was, I'm imagining, pretty time intensive.
It was. It was. I pretty much worked Monday through Friday, and did shoots on the weekend.
Okay.
So as I transitioned out of there, like I said, I'd been there forever. They were good to me. I asked them. like if I could go part-time, they didn't like that, but they let me do 410. So like I started doing like boudoir shoots on Wednesdays. That was like my day off, and then weekends. So like I like transitioned slowly. Like I said, I was scared,
No,
but like I transitioned and it worked.
no, I love that though. This is an example of how, how you transition, and maybe it's not for everyone, but it might give somebody out there an idea
Yeah,
of
like talk
how,
to your managers and see if
yeah, of how
they'll
to,
work with you.
yeah, how to make that transition between the two,
Yeah,
and to understand that sometimes for a period of time, you're going to be working two jobs
yeah.
before you um, get to be doing that. So, what do you feel like is one thing that you wish you had known when you began your photography business?
I wish I knew you guys a lot sooner. um, that's a hard question, honestly,
Yeah.
because I feel like everyone has like the journey for a reason. But
Mm-hmm.
what do I wish I had known? I don't know. I think just to like take big leaps sooner, because I feel like I did all the little things. Like, if someone had like an inexpensive guide, and I was like, oh well, I can afford like $30, and I can afford $50. But it wasn't until I was like big chips, big money, like I'm in. Like it wasn't until like I was willing to like put forth the financial risk
Mm-hmm.
until before I got the reward. Which,
Yeah.
like I said, I had a good job. Like I could have done it sooner, but I was scared. So I feel like just like I don't know, getting past like that fear and just kind of like going for it. But I think it's important to feel like you're going for it with the right people. Like it's important that you feel comfortable with them,
Mm-hmm.
um, and then going for it and doing the work and not just expecting things to happen.
Yeah.
Like you have to put forth the effort and the work to make it happen. So
Yeah. I think that's an interesting point that you're making too, is because sometimes when you can still get some great value from things that are cheaper for sure.
yeah,
But I feel like when you're just putting in a little bit of money, it's a little bit of commitment. But when you put in those big dollars to invest, whether it's in a mentor, a coach, a program, even outsourcing or hiring someone to be on your team,
yeah,
um, that's when the commitment really is shown. And that's when, I know, your booty's on the line. and sometimes it just forces you to be more committed. Whereas if there's not much invested, there's not much skin in the game, then there's not that motivation to actually make sure things happen. So that kind of makes sense
yeah.
for
Well,
sure.
and you're exactly right. Like low money, like small money, small risk. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think we talked about this like with session fees or whatever, but if you're only committing a tiny amount, you're like, whatever, I can walk away from that. But
Mm-hmm.
when it's like a substantial amount, like if it's a commitment for your budget, like you're gonna be more committed to making something work.
Yep. Love that. Um, what would you say is one of your biggest accomplishments in your business?
That's hard. I was super excited to hit six figures. Like that had been a number that I had been looking forward to hitting. But even just quitting that full-time job, like, and I know now, like looking back, like it's been a while, but like that was so big to me just to be able to like, no, I'm a full-time photographer. Like that's my hustle. Like
Yeah.
that's what I do. Like, cause so many people in the industry struggle. And I mean,
Mm-hmm.
asked me 10 years ago, like even I don't think I would have been like, oh yeah, I'll be a full-time photographer. Like, because it's like a dream to be able to do what you love, like as a full-time job. And so I think just being able to quit that job. And I also joke like that I've never had to ask my boyfriend to like subsidize my income since I left that job. He offered when I left, like, you ever need me? And I was like, well, I won't, like, because I refuse to like, need help. But I
Mm-hmm.
feel like, yeah,
Yeah.
just,
I was gonna say, you were like, that's a hard one. I was like, well, quitting your job and doing what you love is a pretty big accomplishment.
I know, but like, I feel like I said, it's been 2 years.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, what else? Like, what else have I
Yeah.
done? But
No,
not
that's
needing
good.
to ask for help, I think is a big one because
Being
it's scary.
independent,
Yeah.
financially independent. Love that.
Yep.
Big
And I
accomplishment.
have outsourced like a lot of things. Like I now have an assistant who helps me during the shoot. I have an editor. And then I'm gonna hire like a virtual assistant to help me on the back end too. So being able to like provide like jobs to other women, I think is huge. I did like a picture a few weeks ago that was like, this is my team. And like, I don't think people realize they're supporting like 6 women by supporting like the small business. And
Right.
I love that too.
That's incredible. I love that. Oh, I'm getting like goosebumps. It's just so crazy because you like while you invested the time, it took you maybe 3 years to quit your job. You went from quitting your job to in the next, well, you said 2017 is when you quit?
I quit at the beginning of 2019.
Oh,
it was like
2019.
January. Yeah.
Okay. So you quit your job, you hit 6 figures, and now you have a team of 6.
Yeah. In 2 years.
That's insane.
Well, a year and 9 months, 8 months. Yeah. It's been a good ride.
That's pretty good. I love the all in. It obviously shows. What would you say is the top 3 best resources for you that has kind of helped you while building your photography business? It can be podcasts or books or workshops or anything.
I don't know if I have 3. Like, I love, like, I don't know if you're still going to offer them, so I apologize, but like, I loved your posing workshop. I've done all 3 or the 3 of them. And the very first one was seriously like life-changing. Like, I know we had already like, we'd already put in the work here, but like to watch someone like see how people interact in person with their clients, like for me was like so life-changing when it comes to interacting with my clients. So I loved, like, your workshops were amazing. Learning just to elevate the experience for my clients was super fun. And then I am a sucker for like all things Audible. Like I love listening to books. I can do it when I clean, when I walk, when I do whatever. And I love books about like money mindset, because I struggled with that one in the beginning. Money mindset was huge, like invaluable for me in the beginning. And then I love self-improvement. So like, I don't know if you want names of authors, but like
absolutely. I know people who are listening to this are going to be like, well, are you going to tell me which ones are your favorite?
But I love the, like, you're a badass at making money. I love like the Rachel Hollis, like, girl wash your face. Like, because I feel like women do that. Like, I feel like sometimes we play small. Like, someone be like, oh, I like your dress. Oh, it was on sale. Like, I feel like we always try to like minimize big things that we do. So yeah, I love her books, just little things like that.
Yeah.
Just listening to books. I'm not a huge podcast listener. I don't know why. I just don't get into it.
Yeah.
I think because I'm not good at like series, but like a book is, 6-8 hours. I can easily get through that. So, but yeah, Audible, I love listening to books, and I love, the workshops in person. I don't do a ton of online workshops anymore. But yeah, and obviously your guys' program would be like my top 3 things.
Yeah, I love it. Do you have like a top like software or photography like program or anything that you feel like has been invaluable for your business?
I started using Dubsado last summer, and I really like it. Like, I had never used a CRM before, so like there's a learning curve. I'm sure there is with all of them. But I feel like it helped elevate the experience for my clients as well, because basically they get emails like, if their shoots today, like they got an email yesterday and a week ago, like, so it sends emails based on their shoot date. And so I feel like I'm keeping in contact with them. They're constantly getting reminders and tips, and I'm not personally trying to keep track of 100 clients. Like, the system's doing it for me.
A little bit of automation to help.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love that.
All the automation.
Well, based on the timing, this question, like, I mean, if you watch this in 3 years, I don't know, but I wanted to ask, so how did COVID affect you, and how did you get through? Because it sounded like you're going to hit an even bigger number this year than you did last year, despite the pandemic. So kind of, what do you feel like? How did it affect you, and how did you get through it? Like, what are your best tips and tools for that?
So, obviously, like everyone else in the States, like, we got shut down for a little bit of time. Luckily, I mean, we here in Utah were only shut down for 6 weeks, which I feel like is a small amount of time compared to people in other areas in the country. So, yes, obviously it affected my business. I had to reschedule people and get them rebooked. A few people I think just two, like canceled because, their wedding got canceled and like all things happen. But so, um, but other than that, it's kind of weird because I actually feel like I'm busier this fall. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, I can't compare it to last year because obviously like the business is growing too.
Yeah.
But I'm so busy right now, like we're at the end of September. I'm like November busy. Like I am like that wall to wall shoots. Like I can't fit in anybody. Um, so I'm like, I don't know if it's a pandemic and women are like, I need to do something for myself. Like I've been like quarantined to my house. I want a girls' day. Um, but we are very busy. And then obviously we're just taking extra precautions, like
Yeah.
like obviously we're clean anyways, but we're wearing masks, we're sanitizing all the things. Yeah, I have a cleaning company that comes in more often than I did before, just things to make it through. But we're busy, just shutting down for 6 weeks. And I think I've only had two clients that have even asked me like, and again, I think people in Utah feel pretty comfortable. Like
Mm-hmm.
we're not as nervous as other states.
Mm-hmm.
But I've only had two clients even ask me like, what are you doing? Like,
Yeah.
to take precautions. Like, so it's been all right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm proud that we're going to hit a bigger number for sure, considering we're in the middle of a pandemic and we had to shut down for more than a month. So
Yeah, I love that. So what do you feel like got you through? Are there certain systems, processes, mindset tips? Like if like let's just say someone's listening and they're like, well, I was just like suffering during that. Like how are these photographers like making it? How are they actually thriving instead of basically, just surviving? Do you have any tips
I
on
it's 100% mindset. Like
that?
it really is. I have a Facebook group, and like as soon as things started getting like scary, because
Mhm.
people, I mean, I even myself, I was like, I never went through something like this. Like I don't know what to expect. As soon as everything started getting a little scary, I was like, okay, this is our safe spot. We're not gonna like complain about it. We're not like everything in this group is gonna be like cheerful and positive. And I think we're like 2 or 3 weeks into it, and I'm like, well, what can I do? Like, and I talked to like a few of like my girls, and I'm like, let's do like a big donation thing. Like, let's like bring it to our group. We raised like $2,700 for like a local charity here that was helping families during it. So I think it's just mindset. Like,
Yeah.
I'm all about like, I feel like I think about abundance. So I'm like, well, if I can help other families, $2,700, like, and my group felt really good about it. So we just did what we could. And I mean, obviously, we're still busy. Like,
Yeah.
we made it through. So I think stay positive, talk to positive people. Like, I know we had a few calls that was talked about. I think we talked about mindset a lot, but
Yeah.
I think just sticking with positive people. If you surround yourself with negative people, it's gonna seem more dark and scary. Like,
Yeah.
focus on the good. Like, if your family's healthy, if everyone's okay, then like focus on that. Like,
Yeah.
it's not that. I mean, I love to travel. You love to travel. Like, it
Yeah.
sucks that I can't travel anywhere super far right now, but in the grand scheme of things, like I can go next year. Like,
Yeah.
like it's not that big of a deal. Like, we're gonna be fine. So yeah, I think just being positive and doing what we can to like bring joy to other people will help bring joy back to us too.
Yeah. I love that. Um, Two things. One, you mentioned that you're financially independent. So did you have a savings that got you through those 6 weeks?
Um, I did.
Okay.
I had, and I hadn't paid my taxes yet, so so I had savings and I had my taxes. And I did actually have to dip into the taxes. So yeah, I guess
Yeah.
savings got me through. But the funny thing is, like when they extended the tax deadline, I was like, oh well, worst case scenario, like I dip into my tax money.
Yeah.
Um, but it was fine.
Yeah.
Um, I think having savings is important.
Mm.
Um, I was glad it was this year and not like 2 months. I know some people like
Don't have that.
started like went all in and then like COVID shut them down like a month later. So I mean, I was grateful that I was at this point in my journey where I've done
Mhm.
a lot of mindset work and I've done a lot of money mindset, like just all the things. Like it was the timing. It sucks for everybody, but I
Yeah.
mean, it kind of just worked out.
I think like I mean, things are cyclical. So there's going to be another downturn. There's going to be another like, hiccup in life, but I think and just random things happen. It doesn't have to be even global or state, or countrywide. There's things that happen in our lives, but there are like things that we can do to put into place. Like, I think that having that savings there also kind of allows that safety net, if you will, also allows you to keep that mindset positive, because that can be a really stressor if you don't have that safety net. You're trying to keep positive, but bills are piling up. And so I think that probably is part of it, is putting little things into place that allow you to have those safety nets in place, for sure.
Yeah. No, I agree with you, because I'm sure if I didn't have money for the mortgage, like, it would have been a whole different story. Like, I would have been stressed, and then you get into that like negative.
Yeah.
But I still didn't have to ask.
Yeah.
I still didn't have to ask a boyfriend for help.
Right, exactly. Which is why I was like, I knew you're financially independent, because I think it's great to talk about mindset, but I think there's some underlying things too that sometimes we don't even notice that we're doing, or realize how it kind of affects things. And I know, and I talked about this, I think, on another call, but it's just like, I think the rule of thumb before was just before you start like really spending that money that you're making, those profits, is to put back at least 3 months of personal and business expenses. Like, it's good money advice, regardless whether you have a business or not, put back 3 months of personal expenses. But if you own a business, you need that too. But I think now the rule of thumb is going to be like 6 months. I feel like.
Yeah, no, there's states that are still like struggling, and it's been 6 months. The other thing that I think you and I have talked about this before, but when people pay their session fees, I pay my hair and makeup artist. Like, when I basically, like, as they're retaining me with that money, I pay my team up front. So that was really nice for me too, because like, I know that my hair and makeup team's already paid for. It's already covered. It's not like, okay, and then all of a sudden I'm going to have all these shoots and I'm going to have to pay. Like, it's already covered, and it's not like money I didn't remember I had to spend.
Yeah.
So that's a little thing that I think is important too. Make sure your expenses are covered for your clients. Like, and I like paying them up front. Like, I wouldn't want to do it another way now.
Yeah. Love that. I do not remember what the second thing I was going to ask you was now. I was like, don't forget it. Don't forget it. And I was like, oh, I should have just typed it out or something. But I'm trying to keep these about 20 minutes. I think the other two that I've done so far are like 40.
Oh no.
But well, good. It's good. It's great content. So just in wrapping up, what is one piece of advice you would give other photographers who are just starting out or currently building their photography business?
Other than like not being scared to invest, because I think that was like, I think I waited a long time to like make that jump. I think honing in on your skills. Like, if that means, I feel like you can't charge $8,000 for a photo shoot if you've only been shooting for 6 months. Like, I feel like honing in on your skills is super, super important. And I mean, even if it's not like boudoir photography, I think just knowing your camera, like learning, study all the posing, like study all the things you need to do, like, and then go big.
Yeah.
Like, once you have that skill in place, just go big. Like,
master your skills is number one. Yeah. Love that.
Like, don't pay for advertising if people aren't gonna like, if your skills aren't there.
Your skills aren't there. Yep. I love that. I think we talked about that on another call as well. It's just like, you gotta hone in on those skills, and then sometimes you have to just make sure that what you are doing is what the market will actually pay for.
Right.
And if there's a market for it, for sure. Man, I wish I remembered what that other question was, because I felt like it was really good. Whatever. Maybe we can do this again in the future. Awesome. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too.